Good evening, guys, and welcome to my very first long form crochet video. And before I start, I just want to inform you guys, please, this is not for beginners. Well, I can only tell you so much, but this is my first time making this video, and I don't know if beginners will understand it. So first of all, I'm going to show you how to make that piece, the one you just saw at the beginning of the video. And I'm starting with the bra. There are actually two ways to do this, and I'm going to study the two different ways. So I'm going to study the first way, which is easy, and the second one, which is also easy. So you can now choose the one you want to do or the way you want to do it. First things first, I made a knot. Then I changed a particular length in which I want, like how long I want the bra being, like the strap below the bra to be, including the rope they're going to tie at the back, including the front piece in which the bra and every other part is going to stand on. So yeah, that's entire length. Let's say you can use like 15 inches, 17 inches, depending on how chubby or how slim you are. Just measure yourself from like back to the front under your boob area, and like from back to the front, then add a little extra inches, like 6-7 extra inches for the rope part. So yeah, by the time you do this, then yes, you've gotten your bra strap. So you change the measurements, and after changing the measurement, then you double crochet twice. You can choose to single crochet, then you double crochet, but I personally advise you double crochet twice. Just after chaining, you double crochet, then double crochet again, and yes, that's the measurement of your bra strap. But the method I chose, I actually changed 4 at the beginning, and I followed that 4. Like I started doubling the crochet. As you can see, I was just doubling and doubling and doubling. So yeah, I was doubling the crochet, going on and on, and I just kept doing the double crochet until I got the measurements for my bra strap. And for reference, I use yeye wool. As you can see, yeye wool, the big size. If you go to the market, you can find it for like 2,500, 3,000 or more or less, wherever you buy it from. I bought mine from Ogun State, and I got it for 2,500. And yeah, if you want to buy the wool, just tell them yeye wool, big size, and they'll bring out this wool for you. And over here, as you can see, I'm making my measurements. And since I'm making like the bra and the skirt, I label the bra as the shirt, and I label the skirt the skirt. That's the first one. So over here, this is where I start like making the bra. And from the design you see in the beginning, there was a gap in between the two triangles, in between the two cups, aka triangles, that's of the bra strap. So I took her measurements, and the measurement actually start from like, well, I say where one boob starts to where the other like starts. That little gap there, or that's for those that are bossy, they might not have that much gap, but you can choose the length you want. And see, for those of you that don't know, after crocheting, you actually block your project. I didn't know this at first, and when I crocheted my first project and blocked it, it seemed oversized. So if you know that you're not that chubby, and you're like, oh, this might be too small for me, it's better that it is too small for you than it's too big for you. Because if it's too small for you, you can still adjust it. Like after blocking, it's going to get bigger. But if it's too big for you, there is nothing you can do about it, unless you want to lose it or you take it to the tailor. So in this place here, I'm taking the measurement, the 4 inches gap between like the boob, between the triangle, the cup for the boobs. I then measured the triangle and started crocheting. For my triangle as well, as I said, this differs. I can't tell you my own measurement, so it won't lead you astray. So you can choose your own measurement. Just measure how wide you want the triangle to be. If you want the triangle to cover your boobs completely, you measure your entire boob surface area. And if there is still gap in between for it to like leave that space there, lucky for you. And if there is not, you can always find a new style with that. And I single crochet for this particular one. She chose, I think, 6 inches or so. So I had to chain 6 inches, and I just continued like that. I double crochet, and I just kept doubling crochet, and eventually I started reducing. Truth be told, there were a lot of back and forth when it comes to that reduction part, because there was a time that it seemed like as if one side was smaller than the other, and I had to lose everything and start again. So at the point I even stopped counting, I just stopped like calculating. But all I know is that by the time I reduce in one side, I'll reduce on the other side, like in the next row. Let's say this placement at 4 is, once I reduce there on the first row, by the time I turn and reduce there, like that side at 1 is on the second row. You get? So I'll just keep reducing whenever I like turn. And on the book I wrote 18 rows as per. I used 18 rows for the two cups, and then I just kept reducing till I had 3 rows. So I just kept reducing, like I did back and forth as I go back and reduce, and I go to the front and reduce. I can't tell you exactly how I did it, because even me myself, I'm not sure how I got there, because at some point I know I made a mistake somewhere and I stopped counting and I stopped calculating all these things. So if I'm to start explaining the way I did it, it might get a bit confusing. But I can recommend another way in which you can make the cup. You can also start with, like, when you measure your boobs from, let's say your nipple side to like under your boobs, you take the measurement, then you chain that part, then you single crochet that particular chain, then you now start doubling crochet round, and when you get to the middle of that of the chain, just one middle, not the two, there are two ends. When you get to one end, which is the middle of that chain, you triple crochet in that particular one, then you go around again and you turn around and you come back again. I think I'm going to drop on that video on that later, but not now. But I highly recommend that one because it's actually better. So yeah, this is where I was doing the measurement, this is where I was doing the calculations and the measurements. And if you can follow on, please do, because this, or what I was calculating here, 18 rows divided by 9, because the length at which I wanted the cup to be, I was also considering that. So when I consider the length, I also consider the chain, I also consider the, well, that's going to be an entire video teaching how to do the calculations for the chains and every other thing. And when I was done with that, as I was doing it, I was changing color. As you can see in the first triangle, I was changing color. And as I said, I highly recommend the cup on, but this particular triangle gives it a particular shape, and that cup also gives it a different shape. If you know your bossy, I recommend the cup on, like the second way of making it. But if you know you're not that bossy, then I highly recommend this one, because this one is actually the best. And as you can see in the first one, it seemed like as if I tied everything in one knot, and actually I kind of did. You know, when you're doubling crochet, you chain one and pull it through the rest. Actually, in this particular one, I chained one and I not pull it through the both of them. I only pulled it through one. So at the end, I had two ropes each time I finished a particular crochet. So yeah, I kept on doing that till I did that throughout the entire remaining chain up there. So yeah, eventually I then put one particular chain through all of them, and that was how I made that cup part. And this is where I showed a perfect example of what I mean. So I wrapped one around my hook, went under, pulled one out from like the bottom, then pulled rope through only one chain, and that's how I have two chains left. I went into the next one as well, pulled one through the bottom, then pulled it through one chain, and I had an extra chain. That's what I kept on doing. I had one chain left from each stitch that I made. So eventually I pulled one rope through everything. And when I did that, that gave me like a perfect knot. This is where I put everything through. I was counting the stitches, and you can count as well if you want. So yeah, I put one rope through everything and tightened it. So yeah, I hope you understand that part. But as usual, I might also drop a video on that one separately later after this particular video. So this is the aftermath of the bra top, like the strap and the gap. This is the gap I was talking about, the gap between the cups, the triangles. And now it is time to start adding our ruffles. As you can see, I started from the edge, so we start from the very end, like the very last stitch, the very first stitch actually of the triangle, and then you start knitting one into every hole there. And if I don't know how big or how small the knitting pin you're using is, but if your stitches are like too big, you can knit 2 into each gap, like into each holes. During the first round of crochet, when you're almost done with the first triangle, as soon as you get to the tip of the triangle, you're not going to turn back, and neither are you going to stop. You're going to continue. You're going to change. You're going to measure the difference, the measurement that's the gap from one shoulder to the other. That's your neck gap. I want to get that. For me, I used 4 to 5 inches. So yeah, I chained 4 to 5 inches, as you can see in this particular clip. These are already chained it, and then I went directly into the second triangle. As you can see my measuring tape there, and I already chained it. So now I'm going to keep doubling crochet till I get to the end of the second triangle as well. When I get to the end of the second triangle, as you can see, like this is the first triangle, then the chain, and this is me going into the second triangle. I finished doubling crochet through all of them, and yeah, this is what I'm trying to explain. So then I started doubling crochet, doubling crochet 2 into each stitch, 2 double crochet into each stitch. So that's what I did for the first row, and that's why it's looking like this. So for the second row, I did the same thing, 2 into each stitch again. Sorry, for the third row, the first row is a row that we did when we are chaining the triangles together. Then the second row is this one that we just finished, 2 into each stitch, and the third one is what I'm making right now, and as usual, 2 into each stitch. When you're done with that, you want to go in, like that, the part where the pieces are going to like sit on the triangles. Yeah, when you're done with that part, you're going to want to go in to start knitting ruffles in like the triangles as well. After knitting ruffles around the triangle, that's the outside part of the triangle, you also need ruffles inside the triangle, like the inside part of the triangle, and it's going to be the same thing. You double crochet from the first row, and for the second row you double crochet again, 2 double crochet into each stitch, and you're going to do that twice. You do the first row, 2 double crochet into each stitch, and the second row, 2 double crochet into each stitch. And when you're done with that, you're going to meet back with me. Now I'm making the ruffles under the bra tops. Like, in the picture you're going to see some ruffles under the bra. So yeah, that's the ruff I'm making now. For the first one, you're going to measure. I chose to add 3 ropes. So for the first one, as I said, I measured the entire width of the front of the bra top. Then I divided it into 6, in which I know that the 3 ruffle ropes are going to sit perfectly equal to each other, and they're all going to align and like look well. So yeah, that's what I did. And when I did that, the very first rope I measured, I think that was 9 inches. 9 inches. Don't make it too long, don't make it too short. If you make it too short, by the time you block it, it won't be looking too nice. And if you make it too long, by the time you block it, it's going to look a lot worse than what it's supposed to. And as you can see on the screen, I already started with the next piece, that was the skirt. So I chained 7. I started doubling crochet into those 7, and I actually took the measurement like of my waist, like the girl's waist charm. But I didn't take, let's say for example now, the girl's waist was 27 inches. I removed 3 inches in it because the design I want to give the skirt is that the skirt will not have a zip, but it's going to have a rope. So for it to have a rope, it has to have like enough space for the design of the rope to be seen. So when I'm done, you guys are going to get the point. You're going to see the design. I advise you remove like 3 to 4 inches, or if possible say 5 inches, because when you block it, the waist is still going to straighten again, like it's still going to relax and get longer. So if you can move up to 5 inches from the waist, and that's going to give you enough room to like let the rope design be seen. When you've gotten your desired length, I just want you to cross over and start doubling crochet into each stitch. As you can see on the screen, I'm doubling crochet into each stitch or if yours is wide, you can put two double crochet into each stitch. So you know what, I'm going to keep doing till I get to the other end, and I'm going to do this 3 times, so that when you attach the rope, there's going to be like enough space for it to go down. You can use what's displaying on the screen as guidance, because this is actually the second row. I already did it on the first time, and I'm going to like bring it up. Yeah, as you can see, this is second row, and I'm just doing 1 double crochet into each stitch just to get the second row. Then I'll go into the third row, and after the third row, as you can see here, I chained 5, then connected it to the next stitch. That's to the next side of the waist, just to like give that gap there. For like this particular gap, and I'm just evening it out. I can't just connect it like that, even though it's going to be tight on the hip. So yeah, I put this extra space so it will be loose enough for the hip. Please forgive my camera, I didn't know it was this blurry, but I hope you understand. But if you want yours to be wider, you can increase the chain. You can chain 7, you can chain 10, depending on how wide you want it to be and how wide or how narrow your waist is. So when I finish doing this, I'm just going to go on and change color as well. On this row, we start adding the ruffles. That's, we start multiplying. And what I didn't multiply on the first or on the second. I just did everything equally. So I did on the 5th. I'll do the first double crochet, do the second double crochet, do the third double crochet, do the 4th double crochet. Then on the 5th double crochet, I'll put two double crochet on the 5th double crochet, that's on the 5th part. And that's what I kept on doing throughout the skirt. So yeah, I just kept on going on the 5th one, on the 5th one, on the 5th one, and that's what I kept doing. But I didn't do it to the end of the skirt. I'm going to tell you where to stop. I'm going to tell you where I stopped, and that actually made the skirt like well ruffled. The skirt was full enough. By this time, I was already rounding up with the first row, and this is where I was chaining into. Sorry, I was doubling crochet into that chain. So into each chain, I put 1 double crochet, but on the 5th, I double crochet even on the chain. So yes, that's what I did on the chain, and I went on to the next row. In the next row, I continued the same thing. I double crochet, like I put 2 double crochet on every 5th stitch, and I did that for completely 9 rows. I don't know how long you want your skirt to be, but this particular skirt, I wanted it to be 13 inches long. So, and that was like, I think 13 to 15 rows of crochet. So on the 9th crochet, like on the 9th row, that's when I stopped doubling crochet on every 5th. I just stopped doubling crochet at all, and I just started knitting it straight down from the 9th row. And as you can see, with each row, I keep changing hooks. And no, I'm not cutting these hooks. Just when I get to the end, I'll just drop that particular rope, and I'll pick up the next rope. And I make sure not to pull the rope too tight, because if you pull the rope too tight, it might give this skirt an irregular shape. So this is the last row, like this row in which I'm going to like start knitting everything together. As you can see, it's really forming something like a cup shape. That's where the ruffle starts. So I continued like that, and by the time I had my camera back on, I already finished the length of the skirt. And as I told you, as I said before, I want this skirt to be 13 inches, which means that I did not knit the skirt exactly 13 inches. I actually needed it to be 11 to 12 inches, because I know that by the time I block it, it's going to get to that 13 inches. And at this point, I'm already chaining my rope. Had even I used a thinner wool, like a smaller wool, I would have had to chain it straight down, then I'll single crochet on each of those chains. But since this wool is very thick, I'm just going to chain straight down, and that's going to be strong enough to hold the gap between the skirts. So you can make your skirt as you can make the rope as long as you want. You can also make your skirt as long as you want. But for my rope, I used 100 chains. 100 chains, yeah, 100 to 120 chains. You can pick in between that, or you can even make yours lesser if you don't want your chain to be that long. There's no definite amount for it. You can choose how long or how short you want your rope to be. When you're done, you can just start putting your chains right through the hole. You put one side, put the other on the other side, then you cross it. Like, you can just keep crossing it the way you want it. And this is just a simple tutorial. Like, this is how I personally crossed mine. I put one through the right, put one through the left, like under the rope, and well, normal way of crossing shoelaces actually. So that's the way I crossed my ropes. And as you can see, it's all coming together. Everything is really coming out the way it's supposed to be. So yeah, this is the reason we put the gap in the first place, because skirts like this, I measure her waist and not her hip. Well, her hip is obviously bigger than her waist. So, and for the fact that this skirt doesn't have a zip or button, so we decided to go with rope instead. And the rope is going to allow her to easily expand the skirt when she's pulling up her hip, and she can tighten it so it won't fall off her waist. This is the semi-final result of the skirt, like the semi-final form of the skirt. Now it's time for us to block it. And this is why I show you guys the measurement for my skirt. Like this is where I take the measurement for my skirt to make sure that it's actually up to 11 to 12 inches and not exactly 13. So as you can see here, is exactly 12 inches. And in case your skirt is not long enough, like as long as you want it, feel free to add more. You can always add more, because in moment, just know that when you block it, like when you add it into hot water or when you steam it with hot iron, that is going to get longer than it already is. And this one is actually optional, but I highly recommend it. You can like single crochet at the end of your piece, just to make it safe and tighter, because a regular double crochet can only do so much, but a single crochet at the end that is not part of it is actually going to go a long way, and it's going to make it tighter and a lot more secure, so it won't just cut. And this is when I'm about to block my piece. I actually boil my water. I use hot water to block my own piece. I don't have a steam iron, and I don't have a pot to improvise it, so I just use regular kettle and hot water. So after scooping the water into the kettle, I took the kettle and I plugged it in, and I allowed the water to boil. While the water is still boiling, I highly advise that you first take your piece and put it inside cold water first, like just a little cold water. Soak it into the cold water just till the hot water is ready. And when the hot water is ready, just add it. The reason I say put inside cold water first is because so that the piece will be wet. Because if you just immediately add hot water straight to the piece, it will be it might actually damage the wool. But once the piece is already wet, you are just adding hot water to a piece that is already wet with cold water. So yes, the hot water is actually going to get into it very well. But if it's not a little wet, if it's completely dry and you put hot water directly on it, I don't really know the repercussion, and I won't advise you find out for yourself. So at this time my hot water has boiled, so I'm just adding it to the side. Don't pour it directly on your piece, don't pour it constantly, just be circling it around, or if possible, just be adding it to the side. And when you take your piece out, please try not to squeeze it. Even if you're to squeeze it, don't squeeze it as if you're squeezing your last minute Monday outfit or Monday uniform. Squeeze it gently, because if you actually squeeze this in too much, it might either make it too loose or too free. It's going to have repercussions, and I won't actually advise you find out for yourself. Okay, I finished adding my hot water, and I'm just going to allow these skirt to sit in the hot water for a while. So by the time the water is cool enough, I'm just going to come and get it out and spread it out to dry. So at this time, my water is really cool, so I just came to get my skirt out of the water. And as I said, please don't squeeze it too much. Even if you're to squeeze it, just squeeze it a little, just for the water to reduce, like this now. And forget how the skirt looks. It's actually heavy, and even with the size, how small it is, it's actually heavy, you guys. So if you're planning to knit a long skirt, just be in mind that the skirt is going to be heavy and it's not going to dry very fast. So over here, I'm squeezing my skirt gently, and I'm taking it outside to spread it for a while. You can either hang it on a hanger, because I put the second one on the hanger. It's not here right now, but this is the one for the skirt. I took the skirt outside because there was enough sun as of now. As for the bra top, I put it on a hanger. I let the skirt outside to dry for a while, and by a while, I think I left it there for a day or two, while I also soaked the bra top in hot water. And when that one was ready, I put it on a hanger and put it in the bathroom, so it can take its time to dry. Yeah, this is the bra top now. So yes, after it was dry, that was when I did this photo shoot. Well, I just wore it, and this is the final result of everything we just did. Yeah, I hope you guys actually learned something from this. If you have any questions, ask me in the comment section. I'll be there. I hope this was helpful. See you guys in the next video. Bye.